Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpehon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please the sport.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People television. Now you have more than a voice.
This is African News on Voice of the People television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People television. Stay with us.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Now, Mali and Burkina Faso have announced restrictions on the entry of the United States nationals. The move is in direct response to Washington's recent expansion of its travel ban affecting several countries. Both governments say they are applying equivalent measures after the U.S. imposed restrictions based solely on nationality. The ban were announced separately by the two countries' foreign ministries. Burkina Faso says Americans will now face similar visa conditions, while Mali says it will immediately apply the same requirements imposed on its citizens entering the U.S. Mali also expressed regret that the decision was taken without prior consultation. The two military-led countries are members of the regional confederation that includes Niger. While Niger has not officially announced countermeasures, reports suggest similar steps have already been approved. South Africa says it intercepted more than 58,000 people attempting to enter the country illegally during the 2024-2025 festive season. The Border Management Authority says the figure is more than double what was recorded the previous year. Authorities say similar large-scale operations are underway for the current festive season, with increased deployment of border guards and technology. Joint operations involving multiple security agencies are also being intensified across major entry points. Border officials attribute the surge in interceptions to the use of drone and expanded patrols along key border corridors. They say most of those stopped had no travel documents, while others were declared inadmissible or overstay visitors. The BMA says hundreds of arrests were also made alongside major seizures of drugs, vehicles, and illicit goods worth millions of rand. Officials insist the results show growing capacity in South Africa's border enforcement system. Ivory Coast has signed a $487 million health agreement with the United States aimed at strengthening its health system. The deal focuses on improving diseases detection and expanding services to combat HIV/AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. Prime Minister Bougri Mambe says the partnership encourages the country to mobilize domestic resources while working with international partners. He described it as a step toward stronger national leadership in health management. The funding will also improve preparedness for epidemics by integrating U.S.-supported programs into national health services. Officials say this approach ensures sustainability and better coordination across public health programs. U.S. Ambassador Jessica Davis highlight long-term cooperation, emphasizing that health program must go hand in hand with investment in other sectors. The agreement is expected to significantly strengthen care and disease response nationwide over the next 5 years. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has met with Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed in Istanbul. The meeting comes amid tensions following Israel's recognition of Somaliland last week. Somaliland declared independence over 2 decades ago, but has not been recognized by any United Nations member states. Israel's move has drawn condemnation from Somalia and several other countries. The leaders kicked off bilateral talks after an official welcoming ceremony. Discussions focused on strengthening relations, counter-terrorism efforts, and promoting national unity in Somalia. Officials say the meeting signals Turkey's ongoing commitment to Somalia's stability. Both sides stressed cooperation on security, development, and regional diplomacy in the Horn of Africa. Ugandan authorities have detained prominent human rights advocate Sarah Bereti ahead of the January 15 general election. Police have not officially disclosed the reasons, though sources suggest possible hate speech charges. Bereti recently criticized restrictions on Starlink internet import, prompting concerns about civil liberties during the election period. Her arrest has sparked debate on the role of security force in politics and the monitoring of electoral processes. Opposition leader Bobby Wine condemned the detention, accusing authorities of targeting government critics. The move has intensified tensions between opposition supporters and security agencies heading up to the 2026 elections. Civil society groups have called for greater protection of activists and transparency in legal proceedings. The situation highlights ongoing challenges to freedom of expression and electoral fairness in Uganda. The African Union has endorsed Sudan's peace initiative at the United Nations, calling it a balanced roadmap to halt the country's ongoing war. AU Commission Chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf stressed the plan combines an immediate ceasefire with civilian protections and a Sudanese-led political transition. Sudan has been marred in conflict since April 2023 following a violent fallout between the army and the rapid support forces. The fighting has devastated Khartoum, Darfur, and other regions, leaving millions displaced and basic services in collapse. The AU highlighted priorities including humanitarian access, protection of civilians, security sector reforms, and national reconciliation. Officials warned that delays or extortion of international partners could prolong suffering and stability across the country. Yusuf reaffirmed that Sudan's transition must be led by its own people, culminating in free and fair elections under a unified constitution. The AU pledged closer coordination with the UN, Arab League, and IGAD to support Sudan's sovereignty, stability, and post-conflict reconstruction. 2025 was marked by both election and military interventions across Africa, highlighting ongoing political fragility from Guinea-Bissau to Benin. Armed takeovers and attempted coups disrupted governance and tested institutions. In Guinea-Bissau, security forces seized election materials in November, delaying the president's vote and sparking regional concern. Meanwhile, Benin experienced a brief unsuccessful coup in December, quickly contained by loyal forces. Côte d'Ivoire faced heightened tensions ahead of its October elections as a report of unrest with the security forces emerged. Though no coups occurred, the atmosphere showed how military influence in politics continues to challenge democratic processes. Across the Sahel, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger remained under entrenched military rule. Analysts warn that the normalization of armed-led governance raises questions about the durability of democratic gains across the region. With us to help analyze these stories is public affairs analyst Darlington Agomo. Barrister Agomo, thank you very much for joining us on African News today.
Thank you, Solomon. It's my pleasure.
Now, let's start with the first story where Burkina Faso and Mali have announced restrictions on the entry of the United States nationals, more like a tit-for-tat situation here. How effective do you think that will be on U.S. nationals?
Yes, it's going to be effective because they have alternative to U.S. I don't think there's anything they need from U.S. that they cannot get from Russia.
Or China.
Or China. So yeah, these Sahel states, they came prepared. You know, they are calling the U.S. the bluff. I'm telling you, they came prepared. Everything they need now, they can get it elsewhere from U.S. So what they did is right. It shows that they have come of age.
Well, that's a bold step because lots of countries would not do this.
Of course, that's what I'm telling you. Yeah. So they are, and because the military regime, they don't have time for all these diplomatic niceties. No, they are not interested in that. It's a military regime.
Now, considering how powerful the U.S. is since post-World War I, where the U.S. effectively helped the Allied nations won the war, the world has been according to the chronicles of the United States. However, whatever the United States wants the world to be, that's how it's going to be, and that's how it's been for the past 70, 80 years. So, when U.S. start making restrictions, a lot of countries begins to panic. But it looks like this is not the case with Burkina Faso and Mali.
Of course. I said, you know, the United States, they have this belief that they rule the world, they are so powerful, they have all it takes to bully the world and all that. Yes,
and for years it has worked.
It has worked, and I think to an extent it's working. Except that Russia is there to be a stopgap. You know, Russia, Vladimir Putin have proved their point before Donald Trump. That's why he's still in Ukraine. That's why he's still talking tough. That's why even Donald Trump is treating him with kid glue, because he cannot threaten Vladimir Putin. He cannot. So there's a balance of power there. So when this Sahel state now countered what he did, they will say, what is all this? We are not a colonial master. We don't have anything to do with it. So why are you restricting? They too, they retaliated. But I don't see many African countries doing the same thing. They are so much afraid of Donald Trump and US that they can't do without them.
But the question is, how many U.S. nationals want to even go to Burkina Faso or Mali in the first place?
Yeah, they would want to go for some raw material, for business. You know, there are things they used to get from them, you know, cheaply like that. So all those things will no longer be possible now. They want to deal with them person to person. No longer as international ally or diplomacy or whatever. No. When you are coming to those countries now, you are coming for business, and they will deal with you on a business level.
Well, it's safe to say on unofficial diplomatic level, there's a link has been cut there between those two countries and the U.S. Unofficially, though, because I mean, both embassies have not announced that we're cutting ties with the U.S. Neither have the U.S. Had an official announcement that we're cutting ties with Burkina Faso or Mali. So more like a mini Cold War, if you wish.
No, they didn't. They only said they restrict. Restricting does not mean that embassy business will not be going on, or that diplomatic whatever will not be going.
But there will be lots of cold shoulders around.
That it will be on a limited level. You know, the privileges they used to enjoy before, it can no longer be there. Besides, I don't even see what this Sahel state, what they need from US. I don't see what they need from US. Rather, it is the US that will be looking for raw materials in all these African countries. And because they claim to be world power, they can bulldoze their way and get whatever they want. But these Sahel states are proving that no, you can't do that now. That's the truth.
Now, the other story for discussion, South Africa says it intercepted more than 58,000 people attempting to enter the country illegally during the 2024-2025 festive season. Now, with what's going on with a lot of these African countries where, well, needless to say, democracy has failed in a lot of this country, much like a lot of Nigerians traveling to lots of other countries to greener pastures, we have a lot of all these other African countries trying to move in to South Africa, you know, where the grass there tends to be greener compared to so many other African countries. Some may say South Africa tends to be like the only country in Africa that practices something close to how democracy is meant to be practiced. What do you think?
And they have a strong economy. The only thing that is driving them to South Africa is their strong economy. Right now, they are number one economy in Africa. Is that not something to cheer? Then their democracy, they are trying so hard. That was why when Jacob Zuma was the president of South Africa, he wanted to mess up with their money. They said, no, you can't do that. They went to his office and dragged him out. This was a man who was a hit man for the ANC during the apartheid regime.
Because of the role he plays.
Yes. He knows the grave of all the fifth columnists, all the saboteurs, because he was the hit man. So with all this thing he did and all that, he think that they will not allow him to have access to the treasury. They said, no. $16 million that you overspent from the money allocated to him to renovate his country home. They said, no, you can't do that. In fact, he had left ANC now. They bullied him out of ANC. So it showed that, yes, they meant well. They meant well. You know, their president now, Ramaphosa, Cyril Ramaphosa, they stole the $4 million worth of things in his farm. Fala. His own farm. Because he did not declare such a robbery and all that, they took him to court. So this South Africa, maybe because of the presence of the whites, they have tried so hard. I'm not joking. I will give it to them. They are doing so well economically. Yes, they are trying. Look at their electricity. A country of about 60 million people, they are enjoying almost 40,000 megawatts. Please, Solomon, in what year and which century will it get to that level?
And it's hard to believe they just gained their independence in 1990.
We delivered them from apartheid just yesterday.
1993, 1994.
Look at where they are now. Look at where they are. Look at where we are. Look, Solomon, please, I don't want to remember what is going on here. I don't want to remember Nigeria and what has happened to us. I'm not joking. I just don't want to remember Nigeria and where we are now. In Africa and in the world. A whole Nigeria.
I mean, with the South Africa isn't exactly friendly to other African countries because of the xenophobia going on there. One would have expected that would deter a lot of these African countries from nationals from going in there. But I mean,
they will go, but are they controlling it? The answer is yes. Look at what they said. 58 what? 58,000.
58,000.
Oh, people. So yes, they will send them back. They don't want their country polluted. They don't want renegade to settle down in their country. They don't want terrorists to come into their country, Solomon. South Africa don't want terrorists, but Nigeria is inviting them to come. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. South Africa have gone this far to protect their territorial integrity, to protect their citizens. But in Nigeria, Solomon, in Nigeria, your leaders, they went all over Africa and told terrorists to come into Nigeria. And you are telling me that this country is not a cursed country. That the people who claim to be patriotic Nigerians will willingly go and invite terrorists. Terrorists to come into Nigeria. And they are very proud of it. They have been pushing it in our face, and there's nothing you and I can do. In a normal climb, all those people who did all those rubbish, they should be in jail now. It's a treasonable felony. And those people have come to settle in Nigeria. They have driven away citizens from their home state, and they have taken over that place. They are sitting down there now. They are occupying parts of Nigeria. Terrorists. And you are telling me that something is not wrong here.
And for them to be able to monitor this movement shows clearly that they have a good national database.
Of course.
They know people that are South Africans and the ones that aren't.
They know that all those smaller countries surrounding them in South African region, that yes, because of their low level of economic, activities and all that, they would want to go to greener pastures. But South Africa is waiting for them. They are waiting for them to come in so that they will arrest them and send them back. But here, Nigerian leaders went to bring in terrorists into Nigeria.
Our borders are porous. People can come in and out of the country.
That borders are porous. Leave it alone. I will no longer buy that idea. Anybody that tell me that, I will prove that person wrong.
But it's not properly. It's not properly manned.
It is not porous border. It is deliberately left it so that terrorists can enter. All manner of people can enter. Yes, it's deliberate. Let nobody tell you about porous border. So porous border made you to go and invite these people to come in, Abi. Didn't you remember what happened here when Buhari was in office? He said anybody that has $200 is free to enter through the entry point, and they will give them visa as they are coming in. Is that not what he said? With that kind of policy, who do you think will enter Nigeria through that policy? Who else? He did not even give condition that, look, before you come in, we are going. No. With this kind of policy, these people just enter Nigeria in droves, carrying gun. And they enter Nigeria, and today, look at the result. Look at the result.
From South Africa, let's go over to Ivory Coast, where the government, they have signed a $487 million health agreement with the United States aimed at strengthening its health system. Now, when Donald Trump first came into office, he stopped funding to all the countries generally without bias. And but looks like over time he's softened his hand, and they've resumed a lot of these humanitarian activities which the US is generally known for. We've had some in Nigeria, even though, as you said earlier, we don't even know where a lot of this money goes to, because our health system continues to be in shambles. But apparently the same thing is going on with Ivory Coast, where a lot of this focus is to combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis. I mean, that's kudos to the US right there. Looks like they have hearts, after all, some people would say.
I cannot blame Donald Trump. When he did it the first time, yes, the man said that there is corruption in the US aid. Abi? That was the yes, he said it. He said there's too much corruption in US aid. You know, and he had to stop everything so that they can now do a house cleaning
and a reappraisal.
Of course, and the moment he's done, the man now started implementing those things that they said they didn't want to do before. He cleaned out the place and then resumed the same policy of USA and all that. You know, because America want to save some people from themselves. You know the impact of that US aid. How it has helped some people to reduce the impact of AIDS and HIV and all that.
And tuberculosis and malaria.
All those things.
And a lot of these war-torn countries.
I'm telling you, so what he did was right. Now, no more using USA to fund the terrorism and all that. That was what the man was against. That is what the man was against. And those of them from Joe Biden party and
from the Democrats,
they were kicking against it and trying to make no. But the man was not. That is how government work. In fact, no matter what they say about Donald Trump, he has a vision for America. Seriously, the way he's doing his things, yes, nobody is perfect, but you give him credit. He's trying for America. He's trying for them.
Now let's go over to Uganda, where the authorities have detained prominent human rights advocate Sarah Buriti ahead of January 15 general elections. This issue highlights what we see across Africa, where there is no conducive environment for opposition. There is no conducive environment for dissenting voices. And this is one of such example where he's a very popular advocate and critic of the government when the government is not doing well. And now he's been detained ahead of January 15 general election.
In which country?
Uganda.
Good. Bobby Wine suffered it first, Abi?
Yes.
Now another person. Solomon, you know, I've always told you that it was a mistake that the continent of Africa existed. Seriously. Everything about us look like the Stone Age. When they were talking of the Stone Age, they had Africa in mind. Because in this 21st century, we are behaving as if we are not part of the world. The world has moved on and left us behind.
Meanwhile, civilization started from Africa.
Africa, in Egypt. In Egypt. So when I look at what is going on here, I used to ask myself, what exactly happened here? What is it that Africa don't want to move on with the rest of the world? Why are we still behaving as if we're in the Stone Age? Is that the democracy? You people say you don't want a military regime in Africa. You don't want coup. Then this one you are doing now, is it not worse than a coup? Is it not worse than a military regime? That's why these Sahel states are not even listening to anybody. Are you the civilian government that is complaining and talking and making noise? Are you better than them? If you were better, will the military take over? In fact, it is so sad that in this age and time, we cannot enthrone democracy. There is no level playing field for all the politicians or the contestants. And you are telling me you are running a democracy. It's a lie. Something is wrong with Africa. Seriously, generally. Just check from Nigeria to Cameroon to Uganda. Just check. Something is wrong with African leaders. And until they cause a revolution, they will not listen. Go and mark my word. Until they cause a revolution in this Africa. You know, Africa have never had any revolution. I hope you are aware. Africa, except Arab Spring, which, yes. But Africa is pushing themselves to revolution. Maybe after that, there will be a new Africa. Yes. They are calling for it seriously by this behavior. After that, there will be a new Africa.
Now, let's go over to Sudan, where the African Union has endorsed Sudan's peace plan initiated the United Nations. calling it a balanced roadmap to halt the country's ongoing war. That war in Sudan has gone on for years, and had several wars before that. I mean, we talked 2 days ago of how two major things that have plagued Africa, a continent of corrupt leaders, bad governance, and war after war. And Sudan has been one of those countries that have been plagued with it. And the United Nations came out with a peace plan. But first of all, the question is, why is it that the United Nations is the one coming up with a roadmap, a peace plan, where we have an organization like African Union? But nonetheless, there's a peace plan coming from somewhere, and the African Union has endorsed it.
Because African Union is a toothless bulldog. They don't have the power to enforce. African Union is just there on paper. In action, you can't find them. In fact, they don't have integrity, and that is why member states don't even respect their opinion. Member states don't regard them, and I don't blame them. If you are sitting on your headquarters in Addis Ababa that was donated to you by China, then of what importance are you? I don't know whether you are the one I told that there are certain gifts they will give you. Say no, I don't call it because of the insult that comes with it. Is that not true?
And some of the conditions attached to the gift.
You say what? Who are you to give me? I'm the one who's supposed to give you. But you will say that they are being generous. They are being generous. So African Union, forget them. It's good that the UN has come in. Yeah, because they are the one who gave that country their independence. Is that not true? It was from they went to the UN and got their independence and all that after Colin Powell have settled all the issues. So if they come in now, it is okay. And please, the same UN should make sure that all the leaders of that war should be taken to ICC. They should account for the crime against humanity which they committed in Southern Sudan. Because as I talk to you today, 11 million people are refugees in their own country. That is the highest refugee crisis in the whole world today. Southern Sudan. Because of what? Ego war. Who will be in charge? Who will be in control? Who will be this? Who will be that? Only. It's not that they are fighting external aggressor.
Among themselves.
Among themselves. The people you are killing are your own people. The infrastructure you are destroying is your own. The money you are spending, the money you don't have that you are spending to prosecute the war is your own. Is that not the foolishness of the highest order? In my play, they used to say that you cannot kill the person you are going to bury. Is that not foolishness? Somebody you know you are the one that will bury the person. Why did you kill him? To spend your money again to bury him. Is that not foolishness? That is what is happening in Southern Sudan. So if the UN can call them to order, better.
And finally, as we round up 2025, because 2026 will be coming here in a few hours, some countries have already started celebrating 2026.
Of course.
Actually. So a recap of what has happened in Africa. More military coup, election interventions. It's one hell after another, some would say, from Guinea-Bissau to an almost coup, an attempted coup, actually, in Benin Republic. Armed takeovers, an attempted coup, disruption, government, all these that have tested institutions in Africa further highlights just how fragile the politics in Africa is. How would you sum up events that have happened in Africa?
In Africa, yes, this 2025 that is about to end tomorrow.
In a few hours' time,
in fact, Africa suffered a lot. There is nothing to cheer. I can caption it the year of infamy in Africa, the year of low-cost, because all the democratic tenets, all the democratic structures suffered a lot of assault in Africa this year. The records are there. Instead of moving forward, in fact, we are gone 30 years backwards with what happened in Africa this year. Something we were running away from now caught up with us in Africa. Bad governance, poverty, illiteracy, indebtedness. In fact, nothing to cheer. Except a few African countries, they are not even up to 4 out of 54 countries. That is, in fact, I don't know how to, that is minus 4%.
It has always been been a year of elections.
I am telling you, so
the
elections are even sham elections. That's why the democratic culture suffered a lot of assault in Africa. In Tanzania, all the opposition were handed into prison because of election. It was after the election that the woman started talking about releasing them and all that. Is that democracy? Because of election. All opposition members clamped down into detention. For Biya refused to leave office. Museveni said he's going to stay there. Can you just imagine? So, I didn't see anything that is celebratory here in Africa. It's a year of bad omen. Bad omen. DRC is fighting with the M23 rebel. Can you just imagine? In Nigeria, of course, our own, I don't even need to say it. This is the worst year in the history of Nigeria. The worst year. Worst year. I don't know whether
worse than last year.
Sorry?
Worse than last year.
I said worst year. That was the worst year in the history of Nigeria. There is nothing comparable to what has happened to us. The so-called the democracy that they told us they fought another. In fact, it went back 50 years behind. I don't know whether we're in a democracy, we're in a military, we're in a diarchy. I don't know where we are now. I don't know.
Military democracy.
I just don't know. Because the level of dictatorship is even worse when we're in the military. It's worse. So there is nothing to cheer this year in Africa, seriously. Nothing to cheer.
Let's end it here. Thank you very much, Barrister Agumo. It was a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure too.
That was Barrister Darlington Agumo, current affairs analyst, of course, right here on African News on Voice of the People TV. You're watching Voice Africa News on Voice of the People TV. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. But for us, the technical crew,
it's weird for technical people to be in front of camera, but I just want to say,
now this one they make me come outside every day. Anytime when they call me, I will rush come outside. We don't get holiday.
Our holiday is part of our daily routine, and we've embraced it.
I must say, the work is challenging, engaging, and interesting.
We are all families here at VOP, and we the technical crew.
For us, it's another day on the job.
But it's tough being away from family.
But the latter part of it is that after the work,
We will stay connected with video calls and messages. Merry Christmas.
On behalf of the technical crew, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, and here we are. Job continues.
If you're just tuning in, this is Voice of the People TV and you're watching African News. Authorities in South Africa are investigating viral videos showing children as young as 10 consuming alcohol during festive celebrations. The disturbing footage has reignited calls for stricter regulations on nightclubs and taverns. Joburg's MMC for Public Safety, Dr. Makshini Shukafu, ordered the closure of all non-compliant nightclub and establishments on a New Year's Eve. The move is aimed at reducing risks and ensuring public safety during one of Africa's busiest nights. Police in the Eastern Cape are tracing the parents and guardians of children seen drinking in the videos. Officials say some adults actively encouraged underage drinking, prompting criticism from government ministers and child welfare advocates. Data shows South Africa's spent over 414 million rand daily on alcohol since December 1, with younger generations drinking more than previous age groups. Experts warn that rising underage consumption and festive alcohol spending highlights a growing public health and safety concern. At least 41 young men have died during traditional circumcision rites in South Africa over November and December. Authorities say the deaths occurred during initiation activities meant to mark the transition into manhood. Traditional initiation schools teaches cultural values and responsibilities, but unsafe practices continue to produce lives at risk. Many deaths are linked to unregistered or illegal schools, despite laws requiring registration and safety standards. Eastern Cape has been identified as a hotspot, accounting for 21 of the fatalities. The government has arrested 41 people, including parents who supplied false ages to admit underage children. Officials warn that negligence from both schools and parents contributes to the ongoing crisis. Traditional Affairs Minister Vele Kusine Ilabisa urged strict adherence to health standards to prevent further loss of life. We'll go on another quick break, and the African News returns with business and other stories. Stay tuned. It is good to know you're still with us. Still on African News, a quick look at the business segment. Several African countries showed significant strength in 2025, reflecting stability and investor confidence. South Africa's rand appreciated by over 12%, boosted by higher commodity price and positive market sentiment. The Ghanaian cedi rebounded sharply, rising 20% due to strong export revenues from cocoa and gold. Zambia's kwacha also increased by 16%, supported by debt restructuring and lower oil cost. Experts say a strong currency signals effective economic management and fiscal discipline encouraged both domestic and foreign investment by reducing exchange rate risks and volatility. Overall, the performance of these currencies highlights the importance of economic stability for Africa's growth. Countries that maintain fiscal discipline and export competitiveness are likely to continue attracting investors in the coming year. Senegal aims to finalize a program with the International Monetary Fund very quickly, its Finance Minister Sheikh Diba said. The move comes as the country works to manage debt that reached 132% of GDP at the end of 2024. The IMF froze a $1.8 billion loan last year after discovering unreported debts from the previous administration. Officials say significant progress has been made on budgetary, debt and data correction issues. A new IMF mission chief is expected to start in January to accelerate discussions. Senegal also plans to continue raising funds through instruments including Eurobonds to support its economic needs. The finance minister stressed that finalizing the program is a pressing priority, even as the government balances debt management with domestic politics considerations. Senegal's leadership hopes swift action will stabilize the economy and reassure investors. And for a quick look at what's happening in the world of sports, Sudan and Burkina Faso meet tonight for only the second official encounter in their history. Their last meeting was back in January 2012 when Sudan claimed a 2-1 victory to reach the Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals. More than a decade has passed and both squads have changed dramatically. Tonight's game comes with new pressures and a fresh chance to make history. While Sudan has a slight historic edge, football offers no guarantees. Both teams will look to assert dominance and make their mark in CAN 2025, AFCON 2025. Fans can expect a high-stakes match as African football continues to evolve. This clash will write a new chapter for both nations in the continental tournament. And that's all on African News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Voice of the People TV and on other social media platforms at VOP TV Live. If you witness news happenings near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness reports, event coverage, requests, photos or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814-606-4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Solomon Ofem. Thank you for watching.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chiki Bright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello, peeps. My name is Yomi E. Adejumo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stacey Benjamin, and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TV. See, are you looking for good entertainment? You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us, and you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it, or I'll find you, and I want you.
And you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV.
So keep it locked, because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time, because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I want you to actually, I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see.
You better not touch that dial, because VOP is the plot.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. the issues. Don't just react, understand. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you.